Hello and welcome to this tutorial on using Adobe Bridge and Adobe Photoshop to create composite action sequences. The first thing we need to do in creating a composite action sequence is to find the source imagery. So find the source imagery now on your computer. In my case, I found 3 frames of animation, which are a static background of a skateboarder and 3 different frames of his animation doing a trick. Left-click to select the first image or first frame in your action sequence. Holding down the Control key, left-click another frame in your action sequence. While holding down Control, left-click any remaining frames in your action sequence. Now release the Control key and left-click the first frame of your action sequence again. This will deselect the other images within your action sequence. Now try holding down the Shift key and select the last image in your action sequence. This should have the effect of selecting all of the images that are between the first and last frame of your animation. With all of our images now selected, select the Tools menu from the top bar. From the Tools menu, select the Photoshop menu item. From the Photoshop submenu, select Load Files into Photoshop Layers. What this has done is open up Adobe Photoshop, taken all of your selected images, and loaded them as layers into a single Photoshop file. Now that we have Photoshop open, let's explore the layers first. Begin by selecting the second layer, as seen here. Now select the third layer. Now select the first layer again. So that we can view layers beyond the first layer, we need to turn off visibility. Start by selecting the visibility icon on the first layer. This will turn it off. Now turn off visibility on the second layer. Select the visibility icon on the second layer again to turn visibility back on. And again for the first layer. Make sure that the first layer is selected, and then shift select the third layer. With all layers selected, now select the Edit menu. From the Edit menu, select the Auto Align Layers menu item. Click the OK button to apply the Auto Align Layers function. Let's do it one more time with a slight change. Select the Edit menu again. Once more, select the Auto Align Layers menu item from the Edit menu. Now this time, select the Vignette Removal checkbox and click OK. You can use your visibility icons, turning them on and off, to see how the image has been split up into 3 different frames over the same area, and how the Auto Align tool has attempted to line up both the sky and the ground in all 3 images. Now let's edit our photos. We'll begin by adding a layer mask. With the first frame selected, choose the Add Layers Mask button. Now let's do the same for the second layer. Next we'll show you the Opacity Tool. Begin by selecting the first layer. Once the Opacity Tool has been selected, the Opacity slider bar will be revealed. Drag the slider until it reaches 50%, and you should see the image in the main screen of Photoshop begin to reveal the second frame of your animation behind the first frame as it becomes more transparent. Now let's do the same thing for the second layer. Choose the second layer, choose the opacity, drag the opacity slider to 50%, and you should see the third frame revealed. Now that we can see all 3 frames of animation in a single image, let's go ahead and edit that first frame. And what we're going to do is use that mask function, and by removing parts of that mask, reveal portions of the second layer of our image. Once the mask for the first layer has been selected, select the Eraser tool from the toolbar on the left. With the Eraser tool selected, now let's adjust the size of the brush we're going to use to erase portions of our mask. With the brush options open, move the size slider until it reads about 20 to 30 pixels. To close the brush options, simply select the drop-down menu again. With our eraser brush and brush options selected, let's now go ahead and erase the haze that's sitting on top of the actor in the second frame of our animation. In the case of the skater image seen here, the actor in the middle. As we erase the haze over the actor in the second frame, be careful to stay away from the actor in the first frame, or in the case of the skateboarder here, the actor on the far right. Now that the actor in the second frame has been dehazed, let's use our eraser tool to clean up the edges between the first and second frame of our image. Now let's see what it looks like. Select the opacity drop-down menu for the first layer and pull the slider back to 100%. That looks great. The first two frames of our composite action sequence are already done. Now all we need to do is repeat this sequence for the third frame. For the second frame, be sure to take the opacity slider back down to 50% so that we can see the actor in the third frame. Before we begin using our eraser on the second layer, be sure to select the mask for the second layer. With our second layer mask selected, now let's dehaze the actor in the third frame of our animation, or in the case of the skateboarder, the actor on the far left. Just as before, as we erase the haze, be careful to stay away from the actor in the middle, or the actor of the second layer, in our image. It would appear I have some artifacts left over from the first layer that I didn't clean up. So we're going to go back to the first layer, select the mask for that layer, and erase the extra sections that we see sitting on top of the actor in the third frame. Now that we have the third frame actor dehazed, you can go around and try to clean up the edges between frames 1, 2, and 3 by switching between the masks on frame 1 and 2 and using the eraser tool to clean up any inconsistencies you see between the different frames. Now that our dehazing and cleanup is complete, let's look at our completed image. To do this, make sure the second layer is selected and bring up the opacity drop-down menu. Set the opacity back to 100%. Our image is almost done. Now we just need to frame it. To do that, we're going to select the reticle tool from the toolbar on the left. With the reticle tool selected, now let's drag a rectangle around our image as best we can, trying to avoid the angled edges that have been created by the Auto Align tool, and trying to capture all of the action in our image while still keeping a rectangular frame around it. With the reticle in place, as seen here, now I'll attempt to crop the image. To do this, I need to go select the image menu. From the image menu, select the crop menu item. Congratulations! With the image now cropped, we've created a composite action sequence in Photoshop. You can see all 3 frames of our animation in a single image. Very cool.